Emily Albert. I am originally from Rodrigues Island. I am actually completing my research component of my master's in climate change and development at the University of Cape Town. And I am actually one of the co-founder and organization development lead of Teach the Nation South Africa, a partner of the Teach for All global network.
My name is Akalutwa Kavamba Changwe. I studied at Mulungushi University in Zambia, and currently I'm working under the Ministry of Water Development, Sanitation and Environmental Protection.
My name is Kirubi Valentine. I studied a master's in climate change and sustainable development at Mulungushi University in Kabwe, Central Province of Zambia. I'm currently working for the Ministry of Agriculture in Southern Province, where I'm a senior agricultural officer.
I'm Asha Masar Guguri. I have studied at the University of Mauritius, and currently I'm working as a technical enforcement officer in the Ministry of Environment.
My name is Shaibu Mohamed Tuyuntaba, and I attended University of Ghana. I currently work for the Animal Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research.
My name is Evelyn Ajokum. I studied at the University of Ghana for both my graduate and undergraduate studies. I am a part of the MPhil Climate Change and Sustainable Development class 2014 to 2016. I am currently working as a sustainability consultant for Change Afrique, which is a sustainability consulting company based in Ghana.
I believe the greatest challenge of tackling the global issue of climate change is a lack of collective awareness, collective leadership, and most importantly, collective shared accountability of this global problem. And I also believe that the reason why there is a lack of shared accountability is that the problem is being narrated and majoritized heavily around despair, cause, humanity being back and contributing to that, where there is also a need to inspire people to take action, and especially the new generation. And with the shifting baseline syndrome, they need to be connected to the problem, to the action, but all together collectively.
I think the greatest challenge in solving climate change is that most countries and communities do not have the adequate capacity to tackle climate change impacts, especially the financial capacity and the knowledge capacity. Most communities do not have that capacity to handle climate change impacts.
I think the greatest challenge that we face now in climate change is that we are not getting as many voices as possible quick enough to set in motion a transformation agenda that will drive the climate change mitigation actions, especially from rural people in African countries.
The greatest challenges that we are facing in solving climate change, I would say, is anticipation and acceptance of different adaptation and mitigation measures by different stakeholders in the population.
With the natural processes which is being caused by volcanic activities, solar radiations, the movement of the earth around the sun, and also variations in ocean currents are aspects that I think is so difficult to deal with.
One of the greatest challenges to solving climate change is the fact that most people see it as hypothetical. Example, when you look at the projections by the IPCC, the adverse effects of climate change is likely to occur in 2050s or 2070s, which means that there's little incentives for people or even policymakers to want to direct scarce resources to solve issues that they won't even experience in their lifetime. So it makes it a little bit more difficult problem to solve.
Coming from a small island, a very small island in the Indian Ocean, I really enjoyed the adaptation and mitigation part of the course. And this had given me a lot of ideas of how the theory, the concepts, and also the example of how um, these different adaptation exercise being done in the communities. This give me a lot of exposure of how I can create my own adaptation workshop to my context and localized it in my village and all around Rodrigues.
I think the most useful thing that I learned during my studies is that the linkage between climate change knowledge, disaster risk reduction knowledge, and knowledge of climate justice are actually paramount if the countries and the world at large are to achieve sustainable development.
There are many things that I learned whilst in university at Mulungushi, but one of them stands out to be that we can actually use various ecosystems around us to mitigate against climate change as well as to adapt against climate change. This is very important for especially the rural population, that they appreciate the various ecosystems that they have uh, uh, in those areas and utilize them. One, to mitigate against climate change, and two, to adapt against the effects of climate change.
The most useful thing that I have learned was during my studies, which were the introduction of EMD modeling in the field of agriculture that can predict different climatic phenomena, and that helped in the decision making for the farmers.
I've been able to link climate change and crop production. I've also been able to link climate change and livestock production in particular. I've also been able to link climate change and socioeconomic factors, how climate change affects other livelihood activities.
The most useful thing I learned in studying climate change is that it affects all aspects of human lives. It affects human health, education, energy, food supply, food security, even our ecosystems, right? So it's definitely crucial. And it's also one of the reasons why I've always wanted to be a part of the solution to solving climate change, especially in Ghana.
I wish there was more inspirational learning. Hearing stories on how John D. Liu reforested a whole deserted valley into a luxuriant paradise in China. Stories from entrepreneurs creating a successful business and organization by just recycling massive amount of food waste. So just stories of people, local, international, that are already taking action towards the problem. That is really powerful, and that could be really inspirational to the students to take action themselves.
I think postgraduate curricula must focus much on policy formulation and policy development in order to equip and improve the capacities of the people and the institutions to deal with climate change impacts.
And I would have really appreciated to learn much more about software and modeling, such as the artificial neural network and the fuzzy logic modeling.
One thing that I wish I had learned while in university is the project management of climate change projects, and also climate finance access. This is very key because ideas to mitigate against climate change and also adapt against climate change are usually packaged as projects. Effective management of these projects becomes very key in ensuring that the set objectives are attained and that the desired impact is actually recorded, and the lessons are documented. The lessons learned are actually also documented.
I wish I had learned a lot about climate change modeling, especially that modeling affects or can influence future decision making. If you look at climate change measurement, it is something that a lot of students have had no knowledge in. It is the fault of many universities not being able to equip their laboratories or their workspace.
I think all postgraduate climate change curricula should include a course on sustainability, especially on how human society must endure in the face of global change. And the course should focus on key knowledge areas of sustainability, such as energy, water, environment, policy, agriculture. I've always wished that I had studied some fundamental courses in clean energy systems and circular economy, mostly because in my current work I tend to focus more on renewable energy. And even though I'm learning as I go, I still believe that if I had taken these courses way back in my climate change program, it would have definitely helped me now in my work.
One crazy idea that I think all postgraduate climate change curriculum must teach is how to commercialize climate change theory. How do you create sustainable enterprise, sustainable living out of adaptation, mitigation, bioeconomy, and all the relating concepts that we've learned so far academically, but making it in practice, earning an income out of it, and at the same time creating a movement of actions that will be very interesting to see.